Hello again. In this presentation I want to talk about some of the biomedical approaches, the orthomolecular, whatever, functional medicine, whatever you want to call them, which can be used to help ameliorate some of the problems of our people with autism. It's much better to get a physician to help you if you possibly can, but if not, you can use them yourself with what support you can get. Now, I showed you this earlier today, this list of different remedy interventions which we can use. In this case, I'm just talking about looking at the biology, the biological forces that make people do things, and looking at what we can do to help that situation. The first thing you have to bear in mind is that the brain is part of the entire body. It doesn't operate separately from the rest of the body. Healthy brain work together. But too often in Western medicine, we've separated the head from the rest of the body. We've done that. We've got people called psychiatrists and psychologists who are only interested in what goes on up there. But the head is just part of the entire system. That's an idiotic way for medicine to function. In Arabic medicine, they certainly have a more holistic approach and look at the person as a whole, which is the way it should be done. The next point I want to make is that human beings may have originated in the Rift Valley of Africa, but they soon migrated to the seas and they evolved in coastal regions around the world. And so the nutrition requirements for what human beings are often what would be present in a maritime diet, the sort of fish and things like that which people will be eating. So when we moved inland, we changed our diet and we became deficient in a lot of things which we would get from a normal maritime diet. And before we even start thinking about more complex needs, we've got to make sure that these things are at the required level. In particular, iodine, selenium, zinc, metals which are deficient in many Western diets, and they're becoming deficient in other diets now because the diet has changed. It's not the functional diet which we evolved with. So we have to make sure these are okay. Fish oils contain the omega-3 fatty acids, which main mass of the brain is made up of these fatty acids, fats made from these acids. We're deficient in them. We don't eat the fish as much as we used to. And also certain vitamins and minerals, particularly vitamin A and D and some of the B group, we would get from our fish. But now fish is not so much of a regular part of our diet. And when fish is processed and made into fish fingers and other things like that, then it's gone, it's destroyed. So we expect to be deficient in these. We've got to make sure that the baby and the child and the adult get enough of these things. We learn a lot of lessons from farmers. Farmers know their animals, and farmers know that a sheep's worst enemy is another sheep. And what I'm saying there is, where food is scarce, there are scarcities of food and they do not get the vitamins and minerals and nutrients that they need. And that pertains as well in desert type regions where it's difficult to get the diet which is required. Another point is that sheep are very different from each other. Some sheep require huge amounts of copper, others would be killed by copper toxicity if they got the amount of sheep which these sheep get. It varies between breeds, and the same applies in human beings, and needs are not all the same. Very important example, particularly for the Arabic Muslim world, which I must just talk to you about. Vitamin D has a crucial part to play in development of autism and many other autoimmune type disorders as well. Things like diabetes involved as well. This is something we noticed 20 years ago. For some reason, we always felt we had too many children coming to us from Arabic parents born in Britain. The children were born in Britain, but they were Arabic parents. We didn't understand why that should be. We thought perhaps it was just because 2 or 3 Arabic people contacted us and told their friends about it. And then we saw exactly the same thing in Sweden. They got the same thing. Too much autism amongst the Arabic population. No, it didn't make sense. One of our guiding principles, if it doesn't make sense, is probably important. Remember it. It's going to come back to haunt you later on. Then there was a case about 2 years ago, huge number of Somali children with autism in North America, particularly in the northern states of the United States and in Canada. About half the children with autism in those areas were from Somali origins. They couldn't understand why that would be. We knew immediately what it was. We'd sort of seen it. It was low levels of vitamin D in some. They have found low levels of vitamin D in subjects with autism, and they found low levels in the mothers of people with autism as well. Now, most of our vitamin D we get from sunlight, not from our diet. And if you've got a white skin, you can put the car out the window and drive for a little while, and you'll produce enough vitamin D to keep going, even the limited sunlight we've got. But if you have very dark skin, like the Somalis did in that part of the world, and also you are covered all through pregnancy, you're avoiding the sunlight, you will not produce vitamin D, you get vitamin D deficiency. So we do think it's very important that vitamin D supplements are given to pregnant women, particularly from dark-skinned areas of the world, when they're in areas where there is not enough sunlight to produce what they want to, the amount they need.